Okay, good morning. I only have 15 minutes in these sessions, so I'm going to get started and not waste any time. I'm sure you have questions for me, but just put those in the comments or send me a remind text. But we are getting started. We are not going to be doing Springboard anymore. I'm going to be using a different curriculum to work through while we are doing home learning. So I will post everything you need. Each day you will get notes and homework, unless it's quiz day, and then you will take a quiz. And I'll get you prepared for that as we do that. So the first thing that I've put up for you guys is the geometry formulas reference. It's got all of these shapes. I realize that you don't all have printers at home, and that's fine. You don't have to print this. It will be here for you. If you can print it, I would go ahead and print it at home so you could have it just beside you while you are working. If not, you could always screenshot it on your cell phone and save it as a picture that you could go back to and reference. Hopefully, the more that we do these, you'll memorize some of them. But okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. This is our first lesson that we're going to be doing. So I'm just doing everything by dates instead of topics like Springboard does. So this is just March 17th. We will be taking spring break next week, but from here on out, we are moving forward and doing our new lessons. Okay, so here's our area formulas. This one gives you the formulas here that you'll need for this worksheet. So you can see the different shapes. They've got this for you. This is just very, very basic geometry. So like if I was going to do the first one, this is a square. Well, a square has its formula for us here. We are looking for the area of each shape. So my area formula is side squared. So the side is 8.5. So that would just be 8.5 squared. Now another way to do 8.5 squared is just to multiply by itself, just like length times width, like a rectangle. So you could do 8.5 times 8.5. Either way, that's going to give you the area of this square. 8.5. I did bring a calculator home to do this. I know that you probably don't have this calculator at home, but the one on your cell phone will work just fine. So that's going to be 72.25 feet squared. Now, again, I'm not going to work each one of these out because I only have 15 minutes, and I know that you don't want to listen to me any longer than you have to, but I'm going to talk about each one just a little bit. This is the base, this is the height. So then you would just do 1/2 base times height, do the math. This one is a parallelogram. We talked about parallelograms already this year. These are your two bases and this is your height. So you're using the area formula. 1/2 the height, B1 plus B2. You plug in that information and do the math. Now here's a circle. We haven't talked about the area of a circle yet. The area of the circle is pi r squared. Now 26 right here is the diameter, which is all the way across because the diameter is a chord. So if we want the radius, we want half of that. So half of 26 is 13. So my radius is actually 13, and that's what I would plug into my calculator. Pi 13 squared. If you don't have a scientific calculator at home, you are more than welcome to use Desmos on your computer or phone, or you can even just use 3.14, just like you did back in middle school. That would totally be fine to help you get that answer. All right, this next one down here, this is, oh, y'all, I did this problem wrong. This is not a trapezoid. This is a parallelogram. This is the wrong formula for this one. See, this is going to be just like in class. I'm still going to make mistakes. This one is, since this one is a parallelogram, you're just doing base times height. That's my bad. So you just do 12.9 times 1.7. So just base times height. Don't worry about this formula. That's for this next one. This is a trapezoid. And you'll know that it's a trapezoid because you have two different bases. So this is going to be my base 1. This will be my base 2, and this is my height. And so this is the one where you use 1/2 height, base 1 plus base 2. Okay, and so that's a trapezoid. This is a rectangle, length times width. This is a triangle. You can see that these dashed lines here, that's going to represent the height. It's not actually part of your triangle. It's just representing the height. So then you would do your base and your height. Your base of this one is going to be 29.5. Your height is going to be 14. For this one again, this is a parallelogram. Okay, you know, because your bases here are the same. So that's a parallelogram. Everything has the same angle. So for a parallelogram, this is just base times height. This is the one that I messed up a second ago. So your base is 11.8 and your height is 16.1. Okay? All right. This is a semicircle. Okay, so this is half of a circle. So what you're going to do is you're going to still use the area formula for a circle, but you're just going to take half of that. So the area formula for a circle is pi r squared. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to do pi. The radius is 17 squared, but you are only going to take half of that because that is a semicircle. This is a trapezoid. You know, because you have two different bases. Remember that your bases cannot be the slant. So these are not my bases. This is going to be base 1 and this is going to be base 2. The height separates your bases. So the height would be what separates these bases, which is 5. 5 is your height. So then you're just plugging in 1/2 the height, base 1 plus base 2. So half of 5. Base 1 is 7 plus 13. And again, I'm not plugging this in and doing these math because I'm trying to get through this whole worksheet in under 15 minutes, and I'm already at almost 7. So, all right. On the second page of your notes, we've got two more shapes that are just our basic shapes. This is a triangle. This is your base. You do not have the height. So if they don't give you the height, you have to find that. Well, this is a right triangle, so we can do our Pythagorean theorem. 7 squared is 49. 18.2 squared is something that I don't know. I'm going to have to plug that in my calculator. That's 331 and 24. Then I'm going to subtract out 49 from both sides. X squared equals 282.24, and then I take the square root of that. So x equals 16.8. Now that's not my answer. That's just the height of my triangle. So now that I have that, let me change colors. The area would be 1/2 the base, which is 7. The height, which you just found, is 16.8. Plug that into a calculator and you are ready to go. Now, for this one, we again have a trapezoid. This is kind of like what we've already done in class. We have to find the height. We've got our two bases. We don't know the height. So what you're doing is you're going to create a right triangle. You know that this is 7 and this is 19. Okay? So if we know that the middle section is 7, we can do 19 minus 7. That's going to give us the remainder that's split between those other two sides. 19 minus 7 is 12. So that's 12. So if the whole missing section is 12, that means that this is 6 and this is 6. So now you can take this little right triangle that we have right here. We know the hypotenuse is 10. We know that that little leg is 6. What we don't know is the height of our trapezoid, and we can find that using the Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. 6 squared is 36 plus x squared equals 100. I subtract out 36. X squared equals 64. So the square root of 64 is 8. So the height of my trapezoid is 8, and I found that using the Pythagorean theorem. Now, the area of a trapezoid is half of the height, base 1 plus base 2. So half of the height, which we just found out, is 8. And then we have our base 1, which is 7, and our base 2, which is 19. Okay, so then you've got that. Then you would just plug that in your calculator. Half of 8, which you know is 4. and then 7 plus 19. And I'm just being lazy and just typing the entire thing straight into my calculator. I didn't even put in a fraction. I just left it as 1/2. That gives me 104. So the area of my trapezoid is 104 centimeters squared. Don't forget that all area is squared. Okay, so that's just your basic information about the shapes. Now you can see the remainder of your lesson today is about word problems. So you have to read the word problem and figure out what's going on. My suggestion would be to make a picture if at all possible, but again, you're still just looking for the area of these shapes. The first one is a triangle. So once you've identified what the shape is, you can look at your reference sheet and figure out what the area formula is. It tells you that the triangle with an area of 45.5 centimeters squared. So they give you the area. So I plug that in for the A. And then it tells you that the base is 14. And what we don't know is the height. So you're just going to work this problem backwards. Half of 14 is 7. 7h equals 45.5. How would you get h by itself? Well, you would divide by 7. So then we have the height is 45.5 divided by 7. That's 6.5. So the height is 6.5. Okay? Parallelogram. You've identified what it is, the area of a parallelogram. You can look at your reference sheet. It's base times height. Okay? The area is 160.5. It tells you that the height is 7.5. What we don't know is the base. You would just divide and solve for B. 15. The trapezoid has a base measure of 23 and 29. An area of this, what is the height? So you plug in what you know. 1/2 the height, base 1 plus base 2. So we know that the area is 390, and that's equal to 1/2 the height, which is what I don't know. That's my unknown. My base 1 is 23, and my base 2 is 29. I would add those together. 23 plus 29, that gives me 52. Okay? There's different ways that you could work this out. I am going to just take half of 52, but you could simply divide by 52, multiply by 2. There's lots of different ways to do it. Whatever you feel comfortable with your algebra skills, you can do that. I just took half of 52, so that's going to give me 26h on this side. 390 is still over there. To get h by itself, I'm going to divide by 26. So h equals 390 divided by 26. 390 divided by 26, that gives me 15. So the height is 15 kilometers. Okay? All right. This one's dealing with the perimeter. If you look at 18 down here, this one's dealing with the perimeter. Remember that the perimeter is different. It's just the outsides of your shape. So for this one, they have the perimeter of a square with an area of 361. So we kind of have to start with the area. Remember that the area of a square is s squared. So we have 361 equals s squared. Well, to get s by itself, I have to take the square root of 361. That's not a perfect square. Yes, it is. I'm wrong. It's 19. So that means that s equals 19. So our square has sides that are 19. Now we are looking for the perimeter. So if you're looking for the perimeter of a square that has the sides that are all 19, you would just add 19 plus 19 plus 19 plus 19, or do 19 times 4, which is 76. That is not squared because perimeter is not squared. Okay, I literally have 30 seconds. That's as much as I'm going to be able to get done today on this lesson, but this should help you be able to do your homework. Your homework is both of these sheets. You are working through these problems using your reference sheet and solving these problems about area. So if you've got questions, let me know. This is due tomorrow. Submit it to your Google Classroom. Happy St. Patty's!